Friends, we're going to talk about self-rejection on the twin flame journey. It happens a lot, and it is a huge cause for them to run away. Because when you reject yourself by the law of the mirroring of the entire universe and your body and their body and what the behavior is, being the mirror of what is going on inside of you, when you reject yourself, you will and must reject them too. And it can be sometimes really in a way that is unclear to you, but you're still doing it. And that can become clarified to you. And then you can start to heal that. And there can be a whole healing journey chapter that is all about that and all about turning everything around that has got to do with you rejecting yourself or some aspect of yourself or some part of yourself and so on. So we're going to look into that with a couple of oracle card decks. I have 3 of them selected for this reading. To give this a channeling atmosphere, we're going to do it together with Divine Mother. So what is this self-rejection about? And we're going to look into the vampire cards. Oh, this was jumping right away, so we're going to take this one. The creator, catalyst, creator, mother, father. You are the creator of your whole reality. And when you do that, the creation of your reality and of your current twin flame situation, that's also what you have thus created. You do that, when you do that with self-rejection in your inner world intact, then you create a world in which there is rejection and a co-creation, a relationship with the twin flame in which you experience rejection. And maybe it looks to you as though they reject you, but you're actually rejecting yourself, is what that means. And when you're rejecting yourself, you are subtly rejecting them, although you didn't realize and it wasn't really clear to you, and so on. You are the creator. And when you start to see that this is so, you and the world and them become a catalyst for change, for transformation, for the breakthrough that you are waiting for, to go to another level. Mother, father. While it is also the case that often the self-rejection has come into being from having interacted with your mother or father, or the one that was your attachment figure as a very young child, because you learn all these things, all these patterns from them, right? That's often where it originated. So it can also be a pattern that goes on from generation to generation, to self-reject and then invent your own world on top of that, in which you can feel good while actually behind the scenes feeling less than. And these things are both upper and lower, These things are both not who you truly are. And they are both showing you that you're self-rejecting. Because also when you start to compensate for the fact that you actually rejected yourself by trying to be a better person or a kinder person or a more beautiful person or something than the truth is, that is also self-rejection. Now you've rejected just the reality of yourself. You try to be better than you are. And it does not work. And this often comes from, yes, the early interaction of you with the attachment figures in your life, the mother and the father. And yeah, they could have rejected you deeply because they rejected themselves, etc. You see, so this is also how you see that this is a pattern that goes on from generation to generation and is passed on and on and on. And you can stop that. And for sure, if there's any stopping that is truly stopping, then it is the healing that is happening on the true twin flame journey with the true divine love backing you up to do the true twin flame tools. That is the place to have it stop completely and utterly and process it to completion, what is needing to be processed by you, so that it stops. And not as a wishful, I wish it stops, or as a, oh, let me behave differently and be a better version, and because then I will communicate better words, and then it stops with me, right? Well, not sure, because you may have just done exactly what that was, and that was you tried to be a better person, and thus you rejected yourself. You see how that works? We're speaking about truly processing it until it is completely gone, because it's no longer what's inside of you in the subtle energy, in your patterns that are unconscious in your brain. In your nervous system, it's no longer there, because you also, this is important, don't choose it anymore. There's this Bambi or something on the shield of this vampire. No, maybe it looks more like it is in a bottle, isn't it? Yeah, she's creating this new world in a bottle. There. Because you are the creator of this atmosphere in a bubble that is your life. And if you, as the creator, are self-rejection, then are self-rejecting, then inside of the world that you created, you unconsciously have put self-rejection also, right? It's another way of, again, seeing the same. And to get out of all of that, to get out of all this artificial creating with self-rejection, right? Trying to make it so-called better, but you're actually making it worse, because you cannot accept the reality of what's truly going on, and therefore you can also not accept the reality of the true world of divine love, which is light. Because they come together, the true light of the divine and the truth of your physical human beingness that is in a process, of course. They come together. When you, as a physical human being trying to be better than, then you've screwed up your own ability to feel that true divine light, in which you are the twin flame, in which the twin flame love comes, because it's divine love, and that is light, that's here. And when you do on this side, where you're a physical human being, standing where you are right now, and you're rejecting yourself, and now you feel less than, you're going low there, then you also screwed up the relationship with the true divine light that is here, because you can't relate there anymore. You're not on the same level anymore of where it comes in, so-called, in this hands model I just created. And actually, you start to see that it's both the same when you duck down and when you try to be better than you are. It's both self-rejection. It's the same thing. You try to stand somewhere else than where you're standing because you think that's better, and better must coincide with divine love, isn't it? No, reality coincides with divine love. That's where they meet. Yeah, so it's interesting, right? That we both talk about the lower and the higher. Artificial creation. So how to step out of this artificial creation in its entirety? Well, you surrender to the fact that there is the divine, that is the true creator, and you're only passing things on. And that is again another way of saying what I just said with my hands. The truth of what you are in divine light is perfect. And that is the coming together of where you are in reality as a human being and the divine light. And that is where perfection is created. It's born out of the reality of both and making it real for you. Them coming intimately together in union. Hey. And there you will experience the perfection. But you can't experience that perfection of divine love inside of you as a human being with all your flaws and whatever that are actually not, because this is what you experience now. You can't get there when you're here and self-rejecting by ducking down or leveling up, so-called in form, because you feel down. So that's how it works. So let's see if we can get another card from another deck. And this is the Oracle of Change. And I see this card, so I'm gonna take it. The Snake Princess, the path from snake to inner power is outer power too. And this refers back to the story of Adam and Eve, in which they are uncovering the power of knowledge of self by eating from the fruit of the tree. And that can also be used for bad, and it can be used for good. It's just a knowledge of, the deeper knowledge of life. And you can also choose to simply live in the light of God, blissfully unaware. And that's where you become a child again. And the wisdom of life, the self-awareness of life has gotten the right place inside of you so that you can become vulnerable, intimate with yourself. You can become innocent, that's the word again. In a, let's say, higher way. You become pure in the deeper meaning of things, because you have accepted the reality of where you are and brought that together intimately with the divine light and experience perfection. And that is how the story of Adam and Eve and the snake whispering in the ear of Eve that she could eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge, which was actually said that they should not eat from it, And then she did, and she gave it also to eat to her man. You can become very self-conscious in very many ways, which is also a huge wisdom. Now you know of good and bad. But the deeper truth is when you go deeper inside of that and you process that fruit so much that the processing of the fruit, the digesting of the food becomes you, just becomes your body. You can't become embodied in it. When it's fully embodied, you're actually not thinking about good and bad anymore, but you're so much embodying it that you're now just living in bliss as the pureness that you are. You just live in that experience of perfection. And you don't worry about the knowledge of good and bad anymore. And that was actually what we were supposed to live like in the mythical time of Adam and Eve, which is still now. So in a sense, that's where they originally lived inside, in that bliss. And then the eating of the fruit was a step back. It was in consciousness. It was a step into getting very self-conscious and knowing what the technical movements are on a step lower, so to speak, than that pure bliss. And then when you're there, you start to realize that you can also use it for bad, and that you can also manipulate things, and that is a possibility too, because maybe you can even do it better than the perfection in bliss. You can do it better than the perfection in bliss that God created for you, that you can so blissfully unaware, in a sense, fully immerse yourself in and embody and live. But no, now we've eaten from the fruit, and now maybe we can even know it better than God. And we can start to manipulate things and see if that gives even a better result. And that is the self-rejection of the version of you that lives fully in bliss, in the divine perfection, and fully embodied that and was not worried about the rest. And you rejected that to have all the knowledge, but also the possibility to manipulate and do as if you want to be better than what God created, and the perfection that is here for you. And you actually start to, before you know it, if you're using it for the wrong reason, you start to deteriorate in your consciousness. You actually start to become unhappy, and that's what God not wants for you. So that's how I would explain that mythology of this card. God doesn't want you to be unhappy. God doesn't want you to self-reject the perfection that you have in the garden of God and take a step back and learn so-called more, but actually now you rejected what God created and you think you know it better, and you start to create yourself, and you start to miscreate yourself, and you lose the perfection that was already here. And that is all self-rejection. Even when you would see and say like, yeah, but I wanted to be better than I am in my self-knowledge. So I use this knowledge to become someone better. But you can only do that and conceive of that whole project when you have already left the garden, out of the bliss of the God's perfection for you. And you can reverse that by eating the true fruit, which is divine love itself. And take that door to go back to your full garden experience and find your Adam there, or your Eve, right? Your true twin flame is there, and you are supposed to live blissfully in perfection with them in the garden. So there's a way back as well. And that is the path from snake to power, inner power. Maybe I wouldn't have called it power or inner power, but anyway, the card says that. Snake Princess. And this card has a meaning in the book that it is really about Divine Mother giving you the wisdom so that you can go back to your existence in the garden, where you are whole and worthy and perfect. You don't need to self-reject. And there's a path that Divine Mother can walk with you to go there. And that's what I represent, and that what the methodology and what I share and everything stands for. Walking with Divine Mother back to where you belong in consciousness. And let's see from the Oracle of the Roses. This one clearly moved. Desert. Sustainable. Taking it slow. Take care of your garden, because you might, with self-rejection, have created a desert where once was a garden, and where could be a luscious rose garden with flowers and bottles and green and so much foliage that you can't see towards the houses anymore, and fruits that grow when the sun has been out enough so that the fruits can develop and then become ripe and can be picked, and that could be your garden again. But first you need to accept that there is a desert now, and when you can accept that, oh, then you can grow. Oh, then you can, piece by piece, lay down all these self-rejections. Oh, then you can start to make the steps. Oh, then you can find back the path that Divine Mother laid out for you. Then you can accept that path because you long for the luscious garden. And you know that the only way that will lead there is by accepting that there is now a drought, there's now a desert, and you follow the path that Divine Mother points out to you, and you do it, and step by step you go there, and you do everything she says. And this is how you start to take care of yourself in divine light, not by rejecting the fact that you already had self-rejected, but by accepting that there is now a desert that can grow into the luscious garden of your soul, that your true twin flame feels at home into, because of your unique expression. And that can be a home for the both of you. You start creating that. Step by step, quietly. And when you do it like that, it will be sustainable. And this is the most powerful card in the whole Oracle of the Roses, because it has such an enormous potential when you accept that. So when you stop self-rejecting, you might find yourself lying on a dry ground, just like this woman that is praying for the water to come in, and it comes. The grass already starts to grow around her head, where she's bowing towards. And you can start there too. It's no problem. It's what everyone goes through. It's not unique. It is just an opportunity to take. And you can do it. So I hope this helps. So would you like to work more on your self-rejecting? Stopping to stand in a desert but don't know it. And instead know it. Be confronted with it. And then accept the hand that leads you forward. That brings in the water. That makes the grass grow as a beginning of where this rose garden of you can start to really blossom for you and your twin flame to be inside. Do you want that? Then I invite you to come to the weekend workshop on May 4 and 5, which is very soon already. Don't be mistaken. It's an online workshop that is accessible for people over the entire world. And with 2 to 4 people, you will get this heartfelt space in which we can be intimately together and feel through what this self-rejection is and start to find a way out of it. That could very well be the theme, or it might become another theme that is very recognizable for all participants too. But did you know that self-rejection is actually a pretty much underlying theme of so many things, of like every block, you know? So yeah, this certainly will be integrated there. 6 hours we have that entire weekend. You will experience it as incredibly intensive, and I promise you that your breakthrough will come from participating. If you think like, hey, maybe that's for you, I do have a link to read more. It's in the description box below and in the pinned comment. And I'll also very soon enlighten you when I have an hour in Zoom in which you can come to meet me live to ask your questions about participating that you have beforehand, before you make your choice. I'll speak about that soon. And I'll see you there. And if not, then I'm definitely going to see you in the next video. And that'll be published here in a couple of seconds. Love from Petra.